Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I know it's been a minute since we posted anything up here, and we appreciate you coming back and taking a look at us. We got to the end of 2023 in the kayak bass fishing tournament season and started putting things away and started to evaluate how the season went. And we decided we're going to make a few changes. We started looking at how we want to do it, and we started looking at Black Friday sales and the holiday season and started pricing things out and just kind of went through the holiday season and putting the pieces together. We think we have all the pieces that we need and what we want based on the experience we went through the 2023 season. We had a pretty successful season based on our standards. Obviously, we're not professionals, and we really just do this a lot for our own gratification and fun, but we all want to be a little competitive as well. We did finish the 2023 season on a high note. We did do pretty well at the West Coast Championship down in California. We ended up cashing a check there at the end with a big fish in one of the month-long tournaments there at the Oregon Kayak Bass Fishing events, one of the month-long deals. And so we're going to make some changes, hopefully be a little more competitive. We're going to take some of the knowledge that we learned last year out on the water and up that game a little bit. So we've got the OldTown Autopilot, love this thing, and we're going to, again, up this game, and I'll show you what some of the changes we have coming up. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to change that electrical connection for the motor itself. While I've never experienced any problems, we're going to be a little preemptive and make that change. We got a little bit of Kayak to do a little bit of repair work on the Burley Pro up on the bow there. The way I launched, it kind of rubbed a little raw, and I've already made a little bit of repair. I think that's going to hold, but got a little bit of Kayak, so I'm going to up that game a little bit as well. Put a little extra Kayaks on there, but the biggest change is we're going to change the electronics a little bit. As you know, last year we utilized LiveScope for the first time, and we paired that up with a 73 SV Garmin, and we're going to couple that this year with a 106. So, they had them on sale at Cabela's and Bass Pro for Black Friday. So we picked up a 106 SV. We're going to couple that 73 with the LiveScope. Now we're going to run dual screens, and we're going to mount that with the Sasquatch bar that a lot of you have seen on Facebook and some of the different groups that you can get that's going to go across the middle. That's going to free up the sides a little bit. We're going to do some changes there on those side bars, the side mounts, and change up the batteries in the way we've got it mounted in as well. Up the amp hours a little bit so we can run all of those electronics. So this is just going to be a little introduction. You can see we've got it stripped down a little bit. I'll show you the parts we've got laid out here on a table. And as we go through, we're going to try to put some content together. So in 2024, my goal is to do a little bit more content and show you how we're going to make these changes and put it together, answer some questions. A lot of you have reached out and asked me how I do certain things. A lot of questions on my trailer setup. A lot of questions on how just how I wire things up and how I've done that. I appreciate the questions. I do answer the questions as best I possibly can. You all know I give you straight answers. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not sponsored by OldTown. I'm not sponsored by Garmin. Not sponsored by anybody. I just go out and have fun. I enjoy the sport as much as I possibly can. I really do enjoy it, getting out and having fun and the camaraderie that the kayak bass fishing offers in this sport. So I'm going to go ahead and pause at this moment, and I'll get this camera turned around, and we'll get this set up, and I'll show you some of the changes that we're going to be making here in 2024. So as I mentioned, I picked up some Kayaks. So this is off of Amazon. So it's just 8x12 sheets. You can pick them off of Amazon. So I'll probably just cut a little sheet. Again, this is to repair the Burley Pro. I could pull it off, put a new one on. But at that price, I think for a little piece that I can put on there for just a little small piece that I need to repair. I've already tried the repair by taking basically a soldering iron, and I put a little shoe on there that I've used in some of my other hobbies, and kind of heating up basically a zip tie and filling that gap in. I want to see what that looks like. Maybe the first couple times that I try that, when I launch it, I want to see how well that holds up. If it doesn't hold up, then I'm just going to take a little strip of this and then heat gun it and mold it up over top of that Burley Pro again to kind of double that up. One of the other things that I seen recently on one of the Facebook groups, one of the OldTown Facebook groups, is somebody who made a Kayak, or not a Kayak, but the measuring board, making a holder out of this. I'm kind of contemplating that idea of making a holding that mounts to the side of the kayak. So I'm kind of playing with that idea, and if I do that, I'll do a video on that as well. So that's what we're using the Kayak for, or not the Kayak, but the Kayaks, excuse me. Also on Facebook, or not Facebook, but from Amazon, I went with the less expensive version. So these are the electrical connections for the motor. So this is where the motor connects up into the bow. It comes 2 pieces to a set. So again, this is the little blue section. I haven't even taken it out of the package yet. This will probably be one of the first modifications I make this year. Again, and I'll probably modify it the way the Bearded Dad did. If you look at his video, you can find that on YouTube. Shout out to you, Bearded Dad. And just utilize the mount that's already there, modify that a little bit so I don't have to make a bunch of changes, and just connect this into there so it just utilizes the same screw holes. So, but that'll go in there, and this is to keep preventing some of the failures, the potential failures. Again, I've not experienced that, but I also don't want to be out in the middle of the Columbia River, as an example, and have a motor failure and have to tweak that for any particular reason. So I'm going to go ahead and be a little bit preemptive and get that done. I've got some extra batteries. I'm going to see what I'm going to do with that. I utilized this Chins battery, so anybody that's been asking. So this is the battery that I ran all last season. This battery, again, a 20 amp hour. So this ran my live scope. It ran my Garmin 73 SV. It ran all of my lights, my bow lights, and all of my cameras. So I ran 2 cameras off of this. So because if you've seen my previous videos, I've got 2 charging ports on the OldTown Autopilot 136, and then the interior lights. So anything electronics not motor related ran off of this one battery, and I could run it all day long without it ever running out of juice. I never had a problem with it. But I'm going to upgrade this. This was the 20 amp hour. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this. I'm actually thinking about, honestly, putting this. I have a shed that doesn't have power to it, and putting this on a solar panel, and putting some 12-volt lighting or some 110 lighting off of an inverter, and just utilizing that battery for that. Well, what I am going to do now, since I'm going to be running the 106 SV as well as the 773, is I'm going to run these 2 20 amp hour batteries in parallel. So now that I'll have a 40 amp hour, these 20 amp hours will both fit in that hatch that sits underneath the seat, and I can mount these together in parallel, and they'll fit in there just fine. I've already tested the fitting. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to mount them. I'll probably use some sort of a Velcro strap to go around them, and then mount them in there in some way so they're stable while I travel down the road, and they don't bounce around. And then again, put them in parallel. During this video, if anybody wants to put any comments in there, offer suggestions as we go through there, I'm open to suggestions. But that's my current thought. Put these in parallel. 40 amp hour, 12 volt is what I'll end up with. That should be more than sufficient. And I'm only going to run the live scope and the 2 graphs off of this. I think I'm going to run the other stuff, being the lights and the camera batteries, when I run those off of this old Dakota Lithium 12 volt 10 amp hour, because I can rerun those wires. I've got a Yak Power 5 port, and I really don't want to redo that. I already had the big hole drilled for that. I could change that to the 8 port, but again, I've already got that hole drilled. I think I'm just going to reallocate those ports a little bit, and I might just run those 2 charge ports direct with a fuse to this battery, and maybe run this up, take it out of this case, and run it up into that front hatch, because the battery itself will go into that front hatch in front of the battery into this, and that'll work just fine that way. So that's my current thought. My wife was scouring through my Amazon list, and I've had this cooler for probably 2 years, actually probably since I got the Kayak, maybe close to 3 years. And so she decided to buy this for me. As you know, I've had a seat bag on the back of my seat since I bought it, and that's just a seat or a bag, honestly, for a walker or that people use, an old person's walker, that I use to carry my some extra gear. And basically I put my remotes in there and just some extra gear. And I've had my eye on this for a while, and I usually bring a lunch bag or something when I go out on the water. And my wife saw this, and so she decided to buy it. And so just kind of looking to see how I'm going to maybe incorporate this. A lot of you have tried this and utilized it, so just going to look and see how I can do it, because I can put the remote in here, When I'm traveling down the road, I can put it inside. I see it's got a zippered pocket. Honestly, I really haven't even looked at it much to see how this is going to work, but I can see now as I open it that it's got some sealed enclosures. I can mount it just fine. So this will be mounted on the back of the seat as well. Here you can see I've got the Garmin 106. So that's the big one for the year. We'll get that all wired up, and it's going to mount onto the Sasquatch. So I got this here recently. I had to wait for the order to come in. So again, you got a lot of seen this on the different Facebook sites and different places online. So this will mount across the front. So we'll put the 106 and the 73 in here, and then we'll see what else we can mount. What I liked about this is that it had the front slots here, the top slots, as well as the back slots. So it gives me a little flexibility. I can put the graphs on the top, and if I wanted to put something in the front, like my cameras, I can mount them in the back and bring them up off of the poles. I'm going to play with that a little bit. So those are the things that I currently have scheduled to put onto this build. So we've kind of stripped it back down, and we're going to do a rebuild. So that's again, taking the information and the data that I calculated from the last couple years, that's how we're going to do this overhaul for 2024. Stick with us. I'll put as we put different components together, I'll put videos up, and hit that like button, subscribe, and follow along. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.